The prison of chains. The marketplace smelled of dust and fear. Cages lined the streets like cruel decorations. Alien merchants shouted prices, showing broken creatures behind iron bars. Some begged for food, some growled like beasts, but one cage stayed silent. Inside that cage sat a woman, her skin pale under the harsh suns, her eyes sharp but heavy with pain. Iron chains coiled around her wrists and ankles, her back bent from the weight. She looked less like a prisoner and more like an animal left to rot. The crowd passed her without care. Laughter filled the air as children threw stones at her. But she never raised her voice, never screamed, never begged. To the aliens, she was worthless, a failure. Someone not even worth the scraps thrown to dogs. The merchants mocked her silence. They called her cursed. They called her broken. And yet she stayed still, eyes fixed on the ground. Then the sound of boots echoed through the square, different from the alien steps, heavier, slower. Each step carried weight. It was a human, tall, scarred, his uniform dusty from travel. He had come as a soldier, but his eyes searched not for war. They searched for something else. The crowd shifted, whispers spread, some laughed, some spat. A human among them was always strange, dangerous even, but he did not care. His gaze swept the cages, past the monsters, past the beggars, until it stopped. It stopped on her, the silent woman. For the first time in years, she felt someone's eyes hold her. Not with disgust, not with hunger, not with cruelty, but with something else, something that burned through her silence. He walked closer, his boots striking the stones like thunder. The merchants chuckled. "Do you want her, human? She is cheaper than meat. She cannot even speak." They laughed louder. "She is chained because she is nothing." But the man did not laugh. His hand rested on the bars, too. He cold iron trembling under his touch. He bent down to look at her face, and for a moment the world stilled. The market noise faded. It was only him and her. Her eyes met his, and in that single glance, something unspoken passed between them. He saw the fire buried under years of chains. She saw the pity turned into strength inside him, and though her lips did not move, though her voice was trapped, her silence screamed louder than words. The merchant sneered. "Human, do not waste your time. This one is cursed. She is silent because her kind made her mute. Do not touch her. Do not even look. She is filth." But the soldier's hand stayed on the bars, his voice low, steady. "I hear her." The woman's heart froze. Her chains rattled softly as if reacting to his words. For the first time, she lifted her head fully. The crowd gasped. Some whispered that she had never moved so quickly before. Her eyes glistened in the dim light. The soldier did not move away. He pressed closer, studying her face. His scars and her silence mirrored each other in a strange bond. He whispered again, "I hear you." The marketplace roared with laughter. Aliens mocked. "Foolish human. She has no voice, no sound. She is less than an animal. She will never speak, not even for you." But the soldier only smiled faintly, his eyes never leaving hers. For the first time in years, she felt a crack inside her silence. A small tear slid down her cheek, warm against the cold dirt on her skin. And though no words came, her silence was broken in another way. The soldier reached through the bars, slow and steady, and touched her chained wrist. The crowd gasped. The merchants shouted warnings. "Do not touch her, human. She carries only curse." But he ignored them. His hand was warm, strong, steady. Her chains burned against her skin. But his touch carried something no one had ever given her. Not pity, not cruelty, but humanity. And in that moment, the silence she had carried like a tombstone began to shake. The alien guards rushed forward, their weapons raised, anger in their voices. "Step away, human. This is forbidden." But he did not step back. His eyes stayed locked on hers, his grip firm on her wrist, and with a steady whisper he said, "You are not nothing." Her breath trembled. Her eyes widened. Another tear fell. The marketplace fell into chaos, merchants shouting, guards charging, laughter twisting into anger, but none of that mattered. What mattered was that for the first time in years, she felt seen, touched, and alive. And though her lips did not move, her silence screamed louder than ever before, the silent plea. The guards moved fast, alien weapons glowing, their voices sharp. "Step away, human. She is forbidden. She is cursed." The crowd shouted for blood, eager to see the stranger punished. But the soldier did not move. His hand still rested on the chained wrist of the silent woman. The woman's eyes trembled. She had not felt a human touch in years, maybe never. Her chains rattled as if alive, the sound cutting through the market like a whisper of ghosts. She wanted to scream, to shout, but her silence held her throat like an iron cage. Still her eyes begged, louder than her voice ever could. The soldier's growl. IP tightened slightly. He looked at the guards without fear, his voice calm yet heavy. "She is not cursed. She is alive. I can hear her even without words." The guards laughed, their alien faces twisted with mockery. "You are a fool, human. Do you think eyes can speak? She is mute, broken, worthless. Leave her or we will cut you down." The soldier's gaze did not shift. His scars burned in the sunlight. He whispered again, this time only for her. "I see you. I hear you. Don't be afraid." Her chest rose sharply. A tear slid down her cheek again. Her silence cracked for a second, but no sound escaped. The guards unlocked their weapons. The crowd pulled back, dust rising into the air. The merchants cheered, hoping for violence. Then, something unexpected happened. The woman lifted her chained hands just slightly, her wrists trembling under the weight. She pressed them closer to the bars where his fingers had touched. Her eyes shone with something the crowd could not understand, but the soldier understood. It was not a curse. It was a plea. The guards growled, "Stop! She is trying to manipulate you, human. Do not listen to her." But their voices sounded distant, drowned in the silent connection between him and her. The soldier leaned closer, his voice low. "I will get you out, no matter the cost." The woman's silence screamed again, her breath shaking, her heart pounding. She had long forgotten the meaning of hope, but in his words she felt a piece of freedom whispering into her soul. The crowd burst into chaos. Some demanded the human's arrest, others shouted to kill the woman, children threw stones again. But she did not flinch this time. Her eyes never left his, her silence louder than the storm around them. The head guard stepped forward, taller and heavier than the rest, his armor shining with cruel symbols, his weapon humming with deadly energy. "Enough, human. You dare touch what belongs to us. You dare claim the cursed one has worth, then you must prove it, with blood." The marketplace fell silent, every alien watching, waiting for the human's response. The soldier stood tall, letting go of the bars for the first time, his hand steady on his sidearm, his voice strong. "If blood is the price, then mine will be the first." The woman's heart clenched. She shook her head weakly, chains rattling, her eyes pleading, not for herself, but for him. She begged silently, "Don't die for me." But he smiled faintly at her, a smile not of arrogance but of conviction. His whisper reached her again. "Your silence is not the end. It is only waiting to be broken." The crowd gasped. The guards aimed their weapons. The head guard barked the order, "Take him down!" And then chaos exploded. The soldier moved like a storm. His weapon flashed. Smoke and dust filled the square. The merchants screamed. Cages shook as the other captives roared and cried. The silent woman pressed herself against the bars, eyes wide in terror and awe, her chains burning her skin as she pulled, desperate to break them. For the first time, she wanted to scream, to call his name, to beg him not to fight alone. But her voice still betrayed her. Silence chained her throat. The soldier fought with fury, his scars glowing red under the alien suns, but there were too many, their weapons too sharp, their numbers overwhelming. He was pushed back step by step until his back pressed against her cage. She reached her chained hands through the bars, her fingers brushing his shoulder, her eyes full of desperate fire. And though her lips never moved, her silence roared into his soul, begging him not to fall. The head guard laughed darkly, his weapon aimed at the soldier's heart. Your foolish mercy has no place here, human. You will die for nothing, and she will rot in silence forever." The soldier's breath came heavy. Blood marked his arm, yet he smiled again, whispering through the chaos, only for her. "Not nothing, never nothing." Her tears fell harder, chains rattling so violently they cracked against the iron bars. Her silence screamed for the first time like thunder, though no sound escaped. The air trembled as if the universe itself heard her plea, and in that moment, the head guard fired, a beam of light racing toward the human's chest, the touch of humanity. The shot tore through the air, a burning light that could end a life in one breath. The crowd gasped as the beam struck the soldier's chest. Dust exploded around him. His body slammed against the cage bars. For a moment, time froze. Silence heavier than chains covered the square. The woman's heart shattered, her eyes wide. Her chained hands clawed through the bars to reach him, but all she touched was smoke and blood. The crowd cheered, convinced the human had fallen. Voices mocked him. Foolish human, he died for nothing, for a cursed one who cannot even scream. But as the smoke cleared, he was still standing, his chest armor scorched and cracked, his breathing ragged, but his eyes alive, alive with fire. The marketplace fell into stunned silence. The soldier lifted his weapon again, his body shaking but unbroken. The head guard snarled, "Impossible. No one survives a direct hit." His alien eyes narrowed. "What are you, human?" The soldier wiped blood from his mouth, his gaze steady. "I am someone who listens, someone who refuses to turn away." His voice carried like thunder through the stunned crowd. The woman's chains rattled again, harder, her silence pressed against the air as if trying to speak. Her tears reamed. Her fingers scraped his arm through the bars, and in that touch he found strength. Her silence was not empty, it was full of everything no one had ever heard: pain, betrayal, hope, and fire, and he heard it clearer than any scream. The head guard roared in fury, commanding his soldiers forward. Dozens surrounded the human, weapons glowing, but he did not step back. He pressed himself against the cage, one hand steadying on the bars where her fingers touched. He whispered to her, "I will not leave you, even if it kills me." Her body trembled, her chest ached, her throat burned as if a voice was clawing inside. Her silence broke again, not into words, but into power. The chains glowed faintly, pulsing with her heartbeat. The crowd murmured in fear. "She moves. She changes. What is happening?" The soldier felt the hum of energy through her chains. He realized her silence was not weakness. It was stolen, forced into her by something cruel, something alien. The merchant who had mocked her earlier shouted, "Do not touch her, human. The chains bind more than her body. They bind her voice, her soul. If you keep touching her, you will unleash her curse." The soldier looked at the woman, his hand gripping hers tighter, his voice sharp. "It is not a curse. It is her truth, and I will break it." Her eyes widened, tears falling like rivers. She had waited years for someone to see her, not as broken, not as cursed, but as alive. The guards rushed him again, their blades slicing, their weapons flashing, but he fought with fury, every strike carrying the strength of the touch she gave him. He bled more, his armor cracked more, but he would not let go of her chained wrist. The woman pulled against her chains with everything she had. Her wrists bled, her arms shook, her silence thundered against the cage bars. And then, something unique happened. Her chains cracked, not fully broken, but fractured. The sound echoed like glass splitting in the quiet. The crowd gasped. Some fell back in terror. Whispers rose. "The cursed one. She awakens." The head guard roared, his weapon glowing brighter. "No, she must never be free. Silence her forever." He fired again, the beam racing toward both of them. The soldier reacted without thought. He pressed closer to her cage, wrapping his body in front of hers, taking the blast head on. His body jolted, pain exploding through him, but his hand never let go. The woman's silence broke again, her eyes wild, her lips parting, but no sound escaped. Still, the ground trembled, her chains glowed, and a shockwave pulsed outward, blasting dust and debris through the market, knocking guards off their feet. The crowd screamed, merchants scrambled, children cried, the head guard staggered back, his armor cracked, his eyes wide in shock. "Impossible! She cannot break silence, it is forbidden!" The soldier fell to his knees, his hand still gripping hers, blood running down his chest, but his voice steady, whispering through the chaos, "You are not cursed, you are not nothing, you are more than they fear." Her tears fell onto his hand, hot against the cold chains, and though her throat gave no voice, her silence roared. The people around them felt it. The chains hummed, the ground cracked. Her silence carried the weight of a scream waiting for years. The soldier smiled weakly at her. "One touch, that's all it takes. You don't have to be silent anymore." The head guard staggered up again, fury blazing, his voice trembling with fear and rage. "Kill them both now!" Dozens of guards rushed forward again, their weapons raised, the square turning into a storm of chaos. But in the center of it all stood the human, bloody, broken, yet unyielding, and the woman, chained, voiceless, yet rising, her silence stronger than the shouts of an entire empire. Secrets in chains. The chains glowed brighter, cracks running through the metal like veins of fire. The crowd froze in terror, whispers filled the square. "She awakens, the cursed one breaks her silence." But the soldier held on tighter, his bloody hand gripping hers. The head guard raised his weapon, his voice shaking with rage. "You do not know what you touch, human. She is forbidden because her voice destroys empires." The soldier's breathing was heavy, blood dripping from his lips, but his eyes never left hers. "Then let her speak. Let her truth burn your lies." The woman's body trembled. Her silence pulsed like a storm about to break. Her memories clawed at her mind, memories buried deep beneath pain. She saw flashes, a throne of light, a crown on her head, and then betrayal, chains slamming shut, voices hissing, "Keep her silent or she will undo us all." Her tears burned hot, her eyes wide, her chest rising as if to scream, but still no sound came, only silence wrapped in power. The guards surrounded the cage, their weapons drawn, fear in their eyes. They did not want to be near her. They had been told since birth that if she spoke, the galaxy itself would tremble. The soldier looked at them, his voice iron. "You fear her voice because you know it is stronger than your armies." The head guard sneered. "You think she is a victim, human, but she was once royalty. She commanded fleets. She spoke truths that shattered worlds. Her silence is mercy to all of us." The woman shook, her head violently, her chains rattling, tears pouring. The soldier tightened his grip. "No, her silence is your weapon, not her curse. You stole her voice because it could reveal your crimes." The crowd gasped. Some looked at each other in confusion. For years they had believed she was cursed, broken, worthless. But now doubt spread. The merchant who once laughed at her shouted, "He lies. She is dangerous." But his voice cracked with fear. The woman pressed her chained hands tighter against the bars, her fingers digging into the soldier's skin, her eyes blazing. She wanted to tell him he was right. She wanted to confess everything. But the chains locked her throat like a coffin. The soldier whispered again, "I hear you, even if they don't." Her breath shook, her body jolted. The cracks in the chains widened, sparks of strange light spilling out. The guards backed away, fear in their eyes. "She cannot break free. If she does, we all die." The head guard barked the order. "End the human, now!" The soldiers lunged, the square filled with light and fire. The human fought like a storm, every strike of his blade fueled by the woman's silent plea, every wound he took answered by her desperate grip. He bled more, stumbled more, but he never let go. The woman's silence grew heavier. The air itself vibrated. The sky darkened. Her chains began to hum like ancient instruments. The ground cracked beneath the cage. She remembered now. Her true past. She was not cursed. She was betrayed. Her voice had once rallied her people. Her voice had once brought justice. But the Empire feared her power. So they bound her throat with chains forged from silence itself. Her eyes widened as the soldier shouted through the chaos. "You are not broken. You are their greatest fear. That is why they chained you." Her heart pounded. The truth seared into her chest. She pulled harder, her wrists bleeding, her silence roaring like thunder. The head guard saw it. terror filling his face. He screamed, "Kill her before the silence breaks!" He raised his weapon for the final strike, the energy glowing brighter than before. The soldier lunged, his body colliding with the guards, both crashing to the ground, the weapon spinning into the dust. The crowd screamed. Chaos swallowed the square, but in the middle of it, the woman's chains shattered louder than steel, a sound that shook the air like an earthquake. The ground split, light pouring out of the broken metal. The marketplace fell into stunned silence, every eye locked on her. She stood in her cage, still chained but weaker now, her body glowing faintly, her lips parted, her chest rising as though preparing to speak. The soldier staggered to his feet, blood dripping, a smile forming on his broken face. "You're almost free," he whispered. The crowd panicked. Merchants ran, guards froze in fear. The head guard crawled toward his weapon, his face pale. "No. If she speaks, everything we built falls." The woman's eyes burned, her silence cracked wider. She pressed her hands against the cage bars, and for the first time in years, the sound of her breath trembled in the air. The escape. The woman's lips trembled. Her chest rose with a deep breath. The marketplace froze in terror, every eye fixed on her. The crowd begged the guards, "Stop her! Silence her!" The head guard's hands shook as he aimed his weapon. "She cannot speak. If she speaks, we are finished." The soldier stood between them, his body broken but his eyes burning, his voice like steel. "Then let her speak. The galaxy deserves to hear her." Her chains cracked louder, sparks of light spilling out. The sound pierced through the air like thunder. The crowd screamed. Some fled. Others fell to their knees in fear. The head guard roared, firing again. The beam shot toward the cage, but the soldier leapt into its path, his body twisting. The blast struck his side, throwing him into the bars. Blood sprayed, but still, he stood, his hand gripping the cage. "You are not alone," he whispered. Her tears flowed. Her silence broke further. The chains pulsed with her heartbeat, glowing brighter. Then one of them snapped fully. The sound echoed across the square like the cry of a lost world. The crowd gasped. Some shouted, "She is free!" The guards stumbled back. Even the head guard froze for a moment, fear twisting his face. The soldier grabbed the broken chain and pulled. Sparks exploded. The woman's eyes locked on his, and though no words left her lips, her silence told him everything. "I will not be silent anymore." The guards rushed, blades flashing. The soldier fought like fire, every move slower now, his body weakened but his will unbroken. The woman reached through the bars, her hand brushing his shoulder, and again the chains cracked under her touch. Then the earth itself trembled. A shockwave blasted outward, throwing guards across the square. Cages rattled violently. Prisoners cried out, some breaking their bonds. Chaos spread like wildfire. The merchant who once mocked her tried to run, but the ground split beneath him, swallowing his wares. Screams filled the air. The market of chains became a storm of fear. The head guard staggered up, fury and terror twisting his voice. "Kill them both now!" But many of his soldiers hesitated, fear gripping their hearts. Whispers spread. What if she was never cursed? What if we were lied to? Doubt infected the crowd like poison. The soldier seized the moment. He slammed his blade into the lock of the cage. Sparks burst, metal screeched, the door cracked open. He shouted, "Run!" The woman stepped forward, her chains still heavy, but her steps stronger than ever before. The crowd gasped, some backing away, some dropping to their knees. Her silence carried like a storm. The soldier grabbed her arm, dragging her into the chaos. Guards tried to block the path, but shockwaves burst from her chains each time she stumbled, knocking them aside. Her silence was no longer weakness, it was a weapon. They ran through the streets, the air filled with fire and screams. Merchants abandoned their stalls, cages shattered, other captives broke free. Some followed them, some fled into the shadows. The city that once mocked her now shook with fear. The head guard roared behind them. "Do not let her escape. If she finds her voice, the empire falls." He chased with his elite guards, weapons glowing. The soldier's breath came heavy, blood dripping with every step. But he did not stop, his hand never letting go of hers. He whispered, "Just a little more, just a little further." her silence pressed against the air, her eyes blazing. She remembered now, her throne, her people, her betrayal, everything stolen when her voice was locked away. Her heart ached with rage, her silence trembled with truth. They turned a corner and found themselves at the city gates, tall iron doors guarded by dozens, weapons ready. The soldier gritted his teeth. "We have no choice. We break through or we die." The woman's chains rattled violently, light pulsing brighter. She stepped forward, lifting her wrists high. The guards mocked. "You cannot pass, cursed one." But fear cracked their voices. Her silence thundered. The chains shattered again, another piece falling away. Light spilled across the gates. The ground quaked, and the guards stumbled back, their weapons trembling in their hands. The soldier raised his blade, standing beside her. "Together," he said. She pressed her chained hands against the iron gates. Her silence roared. Cracks split through the metal, the city shook, and with one final pull the gates burst open, light flooding the streets beyond. The crowd screamed behind them, the head guard's voice echoing, "Do not let them leave. Kill them before she finds her voice." But it was too late. The woman stepped through the gates, her silence blazing like fire, the soldier at her side, the city behind them collapsing into chaos. The voice of truth. The gates lay shattered behind them, dust and fire spilling from the city like smoke from a dying beast. The soldier and the woman stumbled into the wastelands. The ground cracked beneath their feet, the sky burning red with two suns. The silence around them felt heavier than the chains she still carried. But they were not free, not yet. The head guard and his forces poured out of the broken gates, their armor glowing in the twilight, their weapons humming, their voices echoing. "Stop them before she speaks. Stop her before the galaxy hears." The soldier gripped her hand tighter, his body weak, blood dripping with each step, but his eyes steady. "We run until we cannot, then we fight until we must." The woman's chest heaved, her silence louder than thunder. Her chains still clung to her wrists, glowing with strange fire. Each step cracked them further. The ground seemed to answer her heartbeat, the air trembling like glass about to shatter. They reached a broken ridge, a cliff overlooking the barren wastelands. No way forward, only endless sand and stone. The soldier turned, blade in hand, standing in front of her. "Then here we fight." The head guard marched closer, his soldiers surrounding them, his voice loud, cruel. "You cannot run, you cannot hide, she cannot speak, and you cannot save her." The soldier's voice cut through the night. "She is not yours to silence. She never was." The woman stepped forward, her silence pulsing. The soldiers raised their weapons, fear crawling across their faces. They had seen her chains crack. They had felt her silence shake the ground. They knew this was no curse. This was power. The head guard shouted, "You think her voice will save you, human. But if she speaks, worlds will fall. Entire fleets will burn. She is not salvation. She is ruin." The soldier turned to her, his eyes steady even through the pain. "Then let the galaxy see the truth. Let them choose what to fear, your silence or your voice." Her heart shook. Memories of her past swirled. The throne room, her people cheering her name, her words leading them, then the betrayal, soldiers dragging her into chains. The order whispered in the dark, "Silence her forever, or she will undo us all." Tears burned her eyes. Her silence pressed against her throat like fire. Her chains rattled violently, sparks spilling. She raised her hands. The crowd of soldiers flinched back. Even the head guard stepped away. The soldier whispered, "Speak." Her throat trembled, her lips parted. The first sound in years clawed its way out. Not words yet, just a gasp of air, but the sky itself seemed to respond. Thunder cracked, the ground shook, her silence shattering into fragments. The head guard screamed, "Stop her!" His soldiers fired. Beams of light shot across the ridge. The soldier leapt forward, blocking as many as he could, his blade flashing, but too many struck. His body jolted, blood pouring. Still he stood, still he fought. The woman's tears fell like rivers, her silence collapsing inside her chest. Her chains cracked. Ain, one shattered fully. The sound echoed like the cry of a world breaking free. Her voice trembled in her throat. She pushed harder, memories crashing, pain burning, rage flooding, until at last a sound escaped. Weak, broken, but real. A whisper. No. The battlefield froze. The single word echoed like thunder. Though it was no louder than a whisper, the soldiers stumbled, their weapons faltered. The head guard's face turned white with fear. Impossible! The soldier staggered to her side, his hand on her shoulder, his voice steady. Again. Her body shook, her chest burned, her lips parted once more, and her voice spilled out stronger this time. I am not cursed. The wasteland itself seemed to answer. The ground split. The chains shattered fully, glowing shards flying into the sky, her silence gone, her voice reborn. The soldiers fell to their knees, covering their ears, the sound not of pain but of truth, a voice that carried weight, a voice that carried history, a voice that exposed lies. The head guard screamed, "Silence her! Kill them both! Now!" But his soldiers hesitated, some dropping their weapons, some looking at her in awe, their loyalty cracking. The soldier, barely standing, whispered to her, "The galaxy hears you now. Finish it." She stepped forward, her voice rising like a storm, every word shaking the air, every syllable tearing down the Empire's lies. She spoke of betrayal, of chains, of silence forced upon her. She spoke of truth stolen and people deceived. Her words ignited the night sky with fire. The crowd of soldiers broke, some fled into the desert, others fell to their knees. The head guard screamed in rage, charging forward with his blade raised, but her voice roared, a single command, "Stop!" And he froze in place, his body shaking, his weapon dropping, his eyes wide with terror. Her voice bound him where chains never could. The soldier leaned against the rock, his body weak, his smile faint, but proud. He whispered, "Your silence is gone forever." Chains broken forever. The wasteland was silent. Only her voice echoed in the air. The head guard froze, his blade useless on the ground, his soldiers divided, some running into the sands, some kneeling, some staring at her in disbelief. She stood tall now, no longer chained, her voice trembling but strong. Every word she spoke carried weight heavier than any weapon. "You called me cursed, you chained me, you stole my truth, but still I am here, still I speak." The crowd trembled, whispers spread like fire. She was never cursed. She was silenced. The Empire lied to us. The soldier leaned weakly against a broken stone, his body bleeding, his face pale, but his eyes locked on her, pride glowing even through the pain. "You did it," he whispered. "You are free." Her chest ached, her voice raw, but her eyes burned with fire. She turned to him, tears falling. "No, you freed me." The head guard roared, breaking free from her command for a moment, his fury like madness. "You think your voice can end the Empire? You think mercy can stop power? You will burn, and so will your human." He lunged again, his rage stronger than fear, but the soldier pushed himself up, staggering forward, his blade weak in his hand, his voice steady. "Then let us burn together, but you will never chain her again." The woman stepped between them, her voice rising like thunder. "Enough!" The word exploded across the wasteland. The ground cracked. The air shook. The head guard's body froze mid-strike, his blade shattering to dust, his armor splintering like glass. He screamed, but her voice crushed him to his knees. The soldiers around fell silent, and none dared move. Her voice echoed again, calm but sharp. "No more chains, no more silence. The Empire will answer." The head guard gasped for breath, his face pale, his voice shaking. "If you speak to the galaxy, you will bring war. You will bring fire on us all." She stepped closer, her voice soft but unbreakable. "Then let the galaxy hear the truth. Better war with truth than peace with lies." Her words shattered his spirit. his head bowed, his body collapsing into the dust, the once feared head guard silenced not by chains, but by a single human and the voice of the woman he had tried to bury. The soldier staggered, his body failing. He fell to his knees, blood dripping. She rushed to him, holding his face in her hands, her tears falling onto his scars. "Stay with me, please. You cannot leave now." He smiled weakly, his voice faint. "I told you, I hear you, I always will." His eyes fluttered, his strength fading. Her heart broke, but her voice carried hope. She leaned close, whispering into his ear, "Then hear this. You are not nothing. You are my everything." Her words poured into him like fire. His body jolted, his eyes opened again, weak but alive. The soldiers who had once feared her now looked on in awe. Many dropped their weapons completely, bowing their heads. The wasteland shifted. Prisoners from the broken cages emerged from the city ruins, their eyes wide with wonder. They knelt before her, voices trembling. "Speak for us. Lead us." The soldier, still weak but alive, looked at her with a faint smile. "They will follow you. Your voice is their strength now." She looked at the broken chains on the ground, the dust rising into the twilight. Her silence was gone forever. Her voice had returned not only to her, but to everyone who had ever been silenced. She turned to the crowd, her voice steady. "Then let us rise together. No more chains, no more silence." The wasteland shook with her words, hope spreading like a fire. The galaxy itself seemed to listen. The Empire would soon know her voice had returned. The soldier leaned against her, his hand gripping hers tightly, his whisper carried only for her. "One touch broke your silence, but your voice will break their empire." She looked at him, her eyes full of tears and fire, and for the first time in years, she smiled. The and enjoyed the story. Like it and subscribe for more.